Hello and welcome to today's Fintech Finance Virtual Arena. And today we're going to be talking about partnerships, the key strength really to Fintech. And joining me is Louisa Murray, Head of Sales at Railsbank, and Aaron Holmes, the CEO of Kani. Guys, how are you doing today? Louisa, could we actually get you to kick things off? Could you give our audience a bit of background to Railsbank and your role there?
Yeah, I'd be delighted to. So I'm Louisa Murray. I've been at Railsbank pretty much since the beginning. I was employee number 4, and we're up to 200 people plus now. As we said, I'm head of everything customer facing at Railsbank, and that includes sales, but also includes marketing. What does Railsbank do? Well, we are an enabler. So we have a platform which allows any type of company, whether that's a fintech company or whether that's an insurance company, a retail company, to embed financial products into their offering, to their app or their platform, and allow them to build any type of financial product user case upon us. So that can be things like giving them the ability to programmatically open bank accounts, and now we call that banking as a service, or to be able to attach a card to those accounts, which looks at the account for authorization at point of sale. All of this is white labeled. So we've done all the heavy uplifting in the background. We're the building blocks that allow our customers to be able to concentrate on their front end and their customer acquisition.
That's absolutely amazing, being able to do that amount of hard work for so many organizations. It's got to be incredible. And Aaron, thank you also for joining. Could you also give our viewers a bit of background to Kani and also your role?
Yeah, sure. So my name's Aaron. I'm the CEO and founder of Kani. As you might kind of guess by the company name, we are based in the northeast of England, but we are rapidly kind of expanding out into other countries. But prior to doing this, I was for a while the Chief Operating Officer and then the Chief Innovation Officer at Global Processing Services, which is the transaction processing platform behind probably many of the fintechs that you're familiar with, so Starling Bank and Revolut and Curve and about 150 other fintech disruptors. And essentially, I founded Kani 2 years ago to try and solve a problem that we repeatedly saw companies that were kind of coming through our doors. That the problems that they had were really around sort of understanding their data. So having a technology system that was capable of actually dealing with the massive transaction volumes that were going through the platform and coping with those difficult files you get sometimes from companies in the payments ecosystem. And then secondly, trying to help companies to kind of upskill their teams. So drawing on us for knowledge about what's the difference between a reconciliation date and a settlement date, and why does that make a difference to our reconciliations and our payments. So we founded Kani 2 years ago to solve those problems. We're a team of 13 at this point, building up to a team of 18 at the minute with a recruitment round. We were last year's winner of the leading financial services or payment startup from the UK. Thank you. We've been working with Railsbank for the best part of this year now. And I thought it would be really interesting to kind of get Railsbank involved in this discussion, in part because I actually started my career at Newcastle Building Society's Card Solutions team, which was then acquired by Wirecard and has now been acquired by Railsbank.
There we are. The partnership circle ever continues. The payments industry has gone through huge changes over the last couple of months, I think it's fair to say. So, how critical is it going to be going forward to have a complete and clear data set in these times?
I think absolutely critical. I think a lot of companies knew how important it was before, but I think the issue that Wirecard, the German bank, had in terms of the sort of missing 2 billion of funds, I think that's really rocked the fintech industry, and I think it's damaged some confidence in some of the great things that companies are doing. I can already see on the horizon there are sort of indicators of increased regulatory scrutiny, and I wouldn't be surprised if certainly the UK regulator and other regulators around the world looked at what happened with Wirecard and are looking to put steps in place to make sure that doesn't happen again. So I think we are very, very clear that our service offering we felt was going to be important prior to what happened with Wirecard, but even more so now. Our feeling is increased regulatory scrutiny and the ability to evidence on demand to a regulator exactly where all your money is, that all payments are reconciled, and that you've done everything that you were supposed to do. I think that's going to be incredibly important in the future.
Brilliant. And Louisa, with your position, obviously, Railsbank being able to help all these vast amount of companies deal with this payments journey, how have you seen these huge changes go in the last couple of months for your customers?
We've got an absolutely enormous range of customers at the moment, really, from those startups to the brands, and all at different life cycles. So for us, we needed to have the tools to be able to reconcile at transaction level and as deep as we could. So it seems really simple on the outside, but actually it's really, really complex. So we knew that we were never going to be able to build that ourselves in time. So we had to partner with someone. And Kani was very much geared towards the type of company that we are as well. So new tech rather than old tech, and absolutely focused on automation.
Interesting. And Louisa, just bringing in that partnership, if we could take a step back before we keep talking about COVID, that elephant in the room, how did you see partnering for the fintech industry, in the last couple of years rather than the last couple of months? Would it be fair to say that fintech has always been categorized by partnerships? Yeah,
because fintech wants to move quickly. And you cannot sit back and think about what you're going to build over the next few years. You want to be there. You want to be allowing your customers to move quickly, and therefore you've got to be. And unless you've got an absolutely enormous budget behind you and a cast of thousands, you need to partner to get to where you need to be.
Interesting. And Aaron, how about yourself? Before you started Kani, did you see partnering as the way forward? As you said, you worked with Wirecard, where it's not the kind of traditional bank, but it is. What was your outlook in the early steps of fintech a couple of years ago?
Yeah, I think that's why, especially the UK fintech industry, the companies that have grown out of the UK have probably been so successful. I mean, we've seen this, I think, replicated in lots of other countries, but I really think the UK has done a great job of sort of fostering the right sort of partnerships between companies in the industry. If I could probably draw a parallel, I mean, our sort of architecture and a lot of the architecture that you've kind of seen technology companies work towards over the last few years has been around implementing microservices, and this idea that individual modular components can be swapped in and out and worked on without it disrupting the entire system. And I think that's probably a good parallel for the way that the fintech industry has worked. I mean, some of the kind of incumbent banks or incumbent payments companies that are out there, they are they have a huge turning circle, and changing one part of their system really impacts on other parts of their offering, and they've had to try and build everything in house. And I think the success of the fintech industry has been by having these microservice type partnerships where they can bring in best in class operators for the particular areas that they work in, and that's enabled them to kind of really scale up and grow much more quickly than they would have otherwise been able to.
Interesting. And scale is so important, but we've seen with a lot of fintechs that can come with its own set of hindrances. So Louisa, when it comes to that risk and reward of a partnership in fintech, obviously we've heard about scale from Aaron, but what other opportunities are there that outweigh the risks of partnering with another external organization?
So I think from a partnership side, it's more than just a contract. It has to be something that you both believe in and want to do together. And the beauty of fintech is that everyone's growing up and doing it together. So we can have mutual customers, we can introduce other customers. We're not playing in the same field. We've got the same kind of products, so we haven't got the same kind of products, but we need our customers to have the same kind of goals, and we're both helping them on that path. So to me, it's more than just a written contract that we've signed. We've both got to be helping our customers get to where they want to be successful.
And Aaron, how about yourself? As I said, you mentioned scale. Louise has now mentioned the ability to kind of grow together as an industry. Do you notice any other opportunities that significantly scream to you when it comes to partnering?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, I think the partnerships that you forge, I mean, just to kind of echo Louisa's point, I think the culture of the organisation is very important, and by having these sort of having the market to go to and determine who you're going to partner with, it's not just about the technology or the background that they have, but also the cultural fit and their ability to work together, and all these things kind of go together to make something that is sort of greater than the sum of the parts, if that makes sense. So yes, I think there's some huge opportunities out there for emerging fintech companies to partner. One thing I probably would say as well is, I think by partnering with, for example, ourselves, doing the sort of reporting reconciliation for Railsbank, or if you were to select a customer due diligence provider that can identify customers for you, the onus is on that company to be the best in class, and they know that there are other companies out there that are competing with them. And I think that just generally elevates the offering from fintech companies, and it allows them to select the very best customer due diligence provider, or the very best reconciliation provider. And so you've got that constant sort of improvement in the overall service offering, which I don't think you would have if you didn't partner. If you tried to do all this in-house, an IT system that's good enough is often what kind of goes by as the norm. And this, I think, sort of bucks that trend, and it means that you have to compete to be the very best, so that other companies that you want to work with will partner with you.
That's absolutely brilliant to hear how, we've heard about a risky partnership, you would say, in the traditional sense, but how it's actually opened up a lot of opportunity to expand and increase scale as well. And we have actually talked about that briefly before at the beginning of the interview in the panel. So Aaron, I've got to, if we could kind of follow on from that, with such a huge influx of new business, and especially within payments, low value, high volume payments now being pretty much how payments are always going to be for the rest of eternity for banks. How critical is it going to be to have infrastructure and important reconciliation and better visibility of payments?
Yeah, I think incredibly important, for the reason I'll probably just say from the outset, I've used Excel day in, day out from my career, and I think Excel is probably the greatest bit of technology ever invented in terms of putting data in the hands of end users, and I love Excel. However, it is not a way to scale a payments business, and I've seen it. I've tried to do it myself, and it just doesn't work. So I've worked with a number of payments businesses in the past who they tend to start off in the same kind of way, a small finance team, and the question was really around having the right infrastructure and being able to reconcile payments. Typically, what you see is a finance team member trying to do this on an Excel spreadsheet, and you just cannot scale a good international payments business using that technique. So our whole purpose is around having a golden copy of the truth, a single place where all the data goes, and tackling some of the things that sort of finance person using an Excel spreadsheet just can't do. So if you want to be competing with the likes of the incumbent banks have spent a lot of money building these very complex technology systems that allow them to query very large data sets and reconcile them, and that's exactly what we're trying to bring to fintech companies in that sort of startup, scale up and beyond phase. Essentially trying to give them the same power that you would have if you were a retail bank or a very large payments company, without needing to do that massive IT infrastructure build project, and without getting kind of bogged down in sort of building Excel spreadsheets. And just to kind of go back to the point earlier, being able to evidence on demand that your reconciliations are complete and all the money's where it's supposed to be, to a regulator. There's no way that you can do that with something that's static, like spreadsheets or file folders or whatever structure you've got. You do genuinely need a really good technology system that is built for purpose and allows you to evidence all the regulatory outcomes that you're supposed to do, evidence that the money's where it's supposed to be, and give your finance and operations teams the ability to manage by exception rather than having to actually do all the reconciliations themselves. So
Louisa, how can having this technology, the ability to just automate and have clear visibility of all these payments around the world, and at scale, what does that mean for Railsbank going forward?
Well, I think it means that we can cover any type of business. So it's not just small businesses or SMEs and fintechs. It's actually being able to work with global customers. Yeah, so the big brands, whether that's a big delivery company or whether that's an insurance company, any type of business can benefit from this technology. And any type of business, if they want to prototype, launch and scale. So that means the small businesses can get buy-in. If they can get a card in somebody's hands in a couple of weeks, they can get buy-in for funding and investors. And then the bigger kind of companies can use our products to show how good or how quickly they can digitalize, and they can get new products, test them out, and we've had quite a few companies that have done this, that they can literally launch in a couple of weeks. Does this product work? Great. let's scale it. If it doesn't, right, we haven't spent a fortune on this. We've had an insurance company that literally got live with this in a weekend. In Singapore, yeah. So with a card, and the card went into the hand of the CEO at the end of the weekend, and he bought dinner, and obviously that brought enormous buy-in from him, and he invested in Railsbank after that, and then now's on his board. So that we've done that a number of times, and it just shows the power of this type of technology.
It's absolutely brilliant. But if I could bring the conversation specifically back to, I guess, the fintech in general. And talking about open banking, which has really been an enabler in Europe, especially for collaborations and partnerships. Aaron, what do you think open banking can do for card schemes going forward?
So I think there's been an interesting debate in the past around whether open banking was a threat or some kind of complement to card schemes. I think what you have seen though is that the card schemes have really embraced open banking and are trying to align the solutions that they provide to the open banking infrastructure. So I think there's certainly opportunity for them to use some of the benefits of open banking where open banking is widely adopted. But I think there are, if you look at the sort of global payments ecosystem, open banking doesn't exist globally at this point. The card schemes have a very strong position and are well placed to align their technologies in the way that they work to be a good fit with the open banking style solutions that get rolled out as they do across the globe. So I think for the card schemes themselves, interesting. I'm not sure what I would say in terms of whether I think it's a good thing or a bad thing for the incumbent card schemes. What I would say though is that we initially started out with our focus on reconciling card payments and then very quickly expanded into reconciling and reporting on non-card payments, and we've seen a massive uptick in the volume of non-card payments going through. So now to the level where I think in our platform we have about the same level of card payments and non-card payments flowing through for reporting and for reconciliation. So clearly, I think consumers are adopting it, and companies in the industry are really adopting open banking, and I think it's really up to the card schemes to embrace that technology and keep up, and so far so good. I think they are doing that.
Amazing. And Louisa, can I get your input from Railsbank? How do you see open banking? Has it gone enough in the industry, and do you see open finance potentially being the new way forward for Railsbank?
To a certain extent. So I think there's an enormous amount to do. We've got lots of customers that use it. That's led to even more business for us. So to a certain extent it's important, but I think that there's lots of other products out there that will be coming that will be just as innovating as open banking on a global basis. Obviously there's markets in Southeast Asia that we haven't really even touched at the moment. It's really is very greenfield.
Excellent. And Louisa, if I can stay with you, what is next? We've talked about the pandemic, we've talked about the fintech industry, the payments industry, how it's been kind of gradually getting to this point for the last couple of years, but what's next for Railsbank?
So we've kind of started next already, but we're just at the beginning of that bit. So we've launched in Southeast Asia. We're standing out a number of countries out there as well. So we see enormous opportunity for our type of products, but for companies to be able to innovate with. So we're live in Singapore, but we're starting Australia, Singapore, Japan, and Thailand and Malaysia. We're just about to launch also our credit as a service products in the US as well. So really exciting there. We've built a fabulous team that are ready to go. And then we're also going to obviously build on what we've done here in Europe. Got a good number of customers, but again, I think, after Brexit as well, we've got lots and lots of opportunities and lots of innovation to be done. So some really exciting customers that we're working with now, but lots in the pipeline as well.
I mean, the only thing I can say is tremendous. That kind of workflow is not something you hear often, even from the oldest traditional bank that has many different markets, to be able to just, like you say, starting in these markets across the whole of Southeast Asia. I can just say congratulations. It sounds like a really fun time to be part of Railsbank.
It's really exciting. It's been a great opportunity.
Excellent. And for Kani, Aaron, can you tell us what's next?
Yeah, certainly. So we're continuing to assist Railsbank with the migration of all the reports and reconciliation that they need for the existing Wirecard customers. So in terms of what's immediately next, that's certainly going to keep us busy over the next couple of months. We are expanding the team quite rapidly at the moment. So we've just hired a new data science lead who has a PhD from Newcastle University. We've actually been working with Newcastle University and the National Innovation Centre for Data for about the past 9 months on a new technology system that will automatically reconcile payments, any two data sets that you give it. So, we've really invested quite heavily in building out the sort of really complex machine learning and mathematics based, people that are way smarter than me working on this side of the business. So we're really excited about rolling that out because that we think will be an industry-leading reconciliation tool. The other thing, we're just about to release a bin sponsor version of our platform that basically allows bin sponsors to automatically onboard all the customers that they work with, all the program manager clients, and provide end-to-end reconciliation. So this is going to remove all the disputes between organizations about whose number is right at the end of the day when they complete that reconciliation. And then I think apart from that, just really keen to kind of expand our international growth. I mean, we're at a point now where we have 500 plus individual users supporting over 180 companies across 5 continents to actually complete their reporting reconciliation needs. And we've done that sort of just shy of 2 years. So we're very excited to kind of expand our presence in, and particularly the Southeast Asia region. We're also looking at a potential office and some clients in North America as well.
Well, that also sounds absolutely brilliant. And you know what, I think having that kind of automation within reconciliation is just going to be so imperative. We discussed it earlier, the fact that payments are now flying at incredible speeds. Companies are partnering in, with waterfall type levels of speed where within a couple of weeks, as Louisa, you said, with the insurance company, we're going to need that going forward. So to both of you, thank you very much for your input. It's been really exciting to hear really what is going to be the future of the industry going forward and what's going to be the future of Railsbank and Kani. So thank you very much. And to all our viewers, thank you as well. You can catch the rest of the series and much more over at www.fintechf.com and of course, YouTube and LinkedIn, where I'll see you there. Goodbye.